Okay, hope everybody's enjoying the weekend. Today is Sunday, April 26, 2015. Well, the market hit a new high last week as we sort of expected it, but not all the indexes have hit new high yet. Like for the Dow Jones Industrial, and in this video, we're just going to go to the indexes and just see where they are and what we expect. Where it might, they might move in the coming days and week or whatever in the near term. So basically, and just going back and look at this in a little bit of a longer time frame, and you can see that it's still riding on this nice channel on the the Dow Jones Industrial, and although it did not hit a new high, and you can see that if I kind of zoom in here, and you can see that there is a little bit of an engulfing candle here on this weekly candle. And if I kind of take some of these, put back some of these price level here, and the all-time high, essentially, and the all-time closing high is made by the Dow Jones. The last time we made it was on March 2nd, and it closed at 18,288.63. So right now we're basically waiting for this index to break above this engulfing candle. And if I zoom in on the daily here, so you can see that's the high of this candle here. Basically, this is like an inverted head and shoulder, a little bit of a, essentially a little bit of a shooting star. And then we can see this little pattern here that seems to be very familiar to us and occur very frequently near the, these turnaround days, right? We see this evening star type of pattern, and then we see it pull back and get a little bit of a, correction here or consolidation, and then we see it, hitting some of these support level, and immediately we see a bounce, and again we see a little bit of a evening star type of pattern, and got a big candle, the previous Friday that everybody seems to be, calling a major correction again. Those talking head never fail. As soon as we get a day that maybe fall 1% or a little bit more than 1%, then they be, yelling out for this. This could be the time for this 10 to 15% correction. And as I have mentioned many, many times, if we just go back and take a look at this weekly chart here, this market is not going to do a 10% correction because it's been trending for such a long time. And if it wanted to do that 10%, it would have done it a long time ago. And right now, we're basically looking for this market to, unfortunately, it's basically to form the top. So right now, we just kind of see how high this market will go. And if it could break through this engulfing candle, essentially breaking above this, 18,205, and come up and tag this new high, there's a good chance that it could, run up to this upper trend line here, and maybe that will be the level or close to it where we will see the top of this market. But as you can see, there's still quite a way to, go before we get to that point. And if we, see some kind of resistance and see a little bit of a pullback. And again, we probably be hearing those talking head, calling this 10% and that kind of stuff anyway. But we're not going to pay too much attention to those guys because those talking head, they just talk. So right now we're basically watching this price level here. If it's going to come back down, I think the first line of defense is basically this trend line here. And if it dip below this trend line, we could see the Dow Jones might come down and test this 17,579. Basically this pivot low here. And if that can hold that pivot low, and again, this February and December pivot low will come back in play. And this time it's getting close to this this trend line here, on this price channel. So it could be, if we do see some kind of pullback, and those are the level that we be be watching. But I do believe, with the current momentum, the bias is on the upside, and most likely we will see a new all-time high in the near term. Because if we also look at the transportation, and I think the transportation is, the market is giving the opportunity for the transportation to catch up. So we get this maybe a possible, Dow theory confirmation for the Dow Jones Industrial all-time high the next time that it makes a all-time high. And you can see that again, this one is also kind of trending on this long-term price channel, and it's been holding this this trend line as a major support here. So, and if we go back and again, show there's a little bit of a price channel here that we been watching on the transportation. And if we get to the daily, we can probably see a little bit more clear. Also, you can see that it's kind of been trending within this channel, and right now it seems to be trying to make its way back up to the upper channel here. And if it could take out the previous all-time high. So the all-time closing high here is basically made on this date, the 29th of December, which is somewhere around here on this closing. This level here is where it closed with a new all-time high. But back here in November is when it hit the intraday all-time high. So right now we're just kind of waiting for the transportation to come back up. And it seems like, it got back up above all these moving averages. And right now it seems to be, holding this level of support. So if it decide to give up this this rise to come up to this price channel and try to tag a new all-time high, then the level of support that we'll be looking at is probably at this pivot point here, that 85.27, and essentially this trend line support. If it breaks this trend line, then again we'll be basically back to this October low here as the next line of defense on this 7,700. Okay, then let's take a look at the S&P 500, and again let's go and take a look at the longer time frame here on this weekly chart. We see that it's still kind of trending very nicely within this nice rising long-term price channel, right? And so right now it's kind of also got a little bit of an inter-trend line here within the price channel, and it made a new all-time high last week. And let's put these price level back on, and you can see that this is the engulfing candle. This weekly engulfing candle that engulfed the 3-week, and then last week it finally broke through, and then it broke through and closed a new all-time high, and as well as tag put in a new all-time high. So if we go a little bit closer with the zoom in on this daily chart here, you can see that we got this little trend line as a support. So the first level of support that we'll be watching will be basically this trend line if it decide to pull back. But again, basically looking at the S&P 500 to continue to move up. We might get a little bit of a consolidation, but the momentum is still there to tag this positive, tag this upper trend line. And if we put in a just use some sort of Fibonacci retracement, and just to get some idea, even if we just look at this level here as this swing point, okay, so we can see that on the 141 that will be somewhere around this tagging this trend line up here on this 2177. Okay, so those are the some of the level to watch there. And if it pull back, we look at I said we're looking at this pivot low, essentially that engulfing candle, that weekly candle low for the support. And if that doesn't hold, and we be basically back to this December pivot low. And again, then by the time that it's come down, we'll be really close to this trend line here on this long-term price channel. And if we take a look at the New York Composite. Okay, the New York Composite it's also been trending nicely on this, this long-term price channel. And again, it also made a new all-time high last week as well. And if we put these price level back on, and let me zoom that in on a daily, we can see that. Let's see here. Okay, so we see that the all-time high was put on, was tagged on Thursday, and then on Friday actually closed with a new all-time high close. So again, it got a little bit of a, doji candle here, a little bit of a hammer in R7. So it could, kind of consolidate here a little bit. And or again, if we are looking for some sort of pullback, this would be the first level of, support that we might be looking for to try to hold, because on these pivot low here, okay. And if that can't hold again, we see this little bit trend line coming down. So essentially, these pivot low here could be possible support as well. Okay, so basically just looking at these pivot low as potential support if it start coming back down to consolidate, and the major support will basically the this trend line here, or the getting back here to this December low here. Right. Okay. So, but again, before we get down to that point, we also got a lot of these pivot low over here in this area. So the key is to, for the downside is watch these pivot low. But again, basically still looking for this thing to go higher. And even if we, just use this as a pivot swing for the Fibonacci retracement, okay, and just to get some idea where it might head it. So let's say we just do this little bit of a swing. So even though if it pull back to this level here, oops, let me, I don't know what the heck I did here, but let me get that back on. Okay. All right. So so again, you see, even though it's, let's say for example, the NY New York Stock Exchange Composite pull back to the 618 or even close to the 50% level on this particular swing horn, it's essentially come back down to this pivot low level, right? Then we might get a little bit of a bounce and then come back up to tag this 127 and 141, and that will put it up to this 11,300 plus level here. Okay, and then we're looking at the NASDAQ 100. The NASDAQ 100, if we go back and take a look at this price channel, again, so also just like all the other indexes, it's been trending nicely within this price channel. Okay, and right now it's also broke out last week and made a new multi-year high, but not a all-time high yet. Because if I put those level back on, see just the price level here, I have the .com closing high was 4704.73, and that was made on March 27, year 2000. And actually a couple of days before that, I think it was a Friday before that, this probably is a Monday or something. So anyway, the all-time high was tagged at 4816, 0.35. So right now we still kind of a little bit distant away, okay, but there's this trend line up here, so maybe it take a little while before it get up there, or if it break through this trend line, then it would be really getting to this euphoric blowout type of a spike up. Okay, so probably the best way for this index to tag this .com all-time high, the bubble high, is probably just kind of over time just work itself in, rather than just make a big spike up. But if we do get that big spike up, then we have to go and reassess the price action to see is that the clue to tell us that the music basically is about to stop. Okay, so right now got a little bit gap up on Friday, so it's important to see how it open on Monday. Tomorrow, if it open gap down, we want to make sure that the price retrace at least back up above Friday's close. So we want to make sure it tagged this 45.3678. Okay, otherwise then we'll probably be looking at some sort of a what we typically call that the evening star type of pattern. Then we could see a little bit of a pullback, and we probably could see a pullback, maybe get down to these pivot level here, this pivot high, somewhere around the 44.48, or it come down to basically this trend line here. And again, these pivot levels still in play for support level if they do pull back, if this index do pull back to break this trend line, then we'll probably watch it to see can it hold this particular level here, this 4280. So if it does that, then we just have to bear in mind about these level. And again, the December level could also come back in play as well. And essentially, just like all the other indexes, this December level, these pivot low become pretty much like this, trend line, this price channel lower trend line support. Okay. And then on looking at the composite, the NASDAQ Composite actually made a new closing high, because the .com bubble closing high was on 310. 2000, and it was 50.4862. So last Friday it actually closed at 50.92.08. And if we zoom out and take a look at the weekly, and you could also see same thing, it's in kind of trending within this channel, and it is hitting this upper channel line here. So we might see a little bit of a bumpy ride for this composite, NASDAQ Composite here. So, because you can see you got a gap up and got a little bit of a doji. Again, it's important to see how it opened on Monday and see could it tag the, at least on the open, basically the upper portion of this candle here. Because I think the open was 50.96 and we closed at 50.92. So the open is higher than the close, so it's actually closed lower than the open. So we want to make sure that the price could retrace back up to the open, which would be get back up at the 50.96.34. Okay, otherwise, then we'd probably be looking at maybe of an evening star type of pattern, and we could see a little bit of a pullback. And the first line of support is probably this particular .com high, the closing high at 50.48. And if you can't hold that 50.48, again we see this trend line here. If we so we are still looking at this. This trend line. So this trend line could be the support, or this pivot low here. If it pull back and break this particular level here, then if that doesn't hold, we'd be looking at these pivot. Right. So those are the line of support that we be watching for the NASDAQ Composite if it decides to pull back, or I don't believe this is the top yet, because right now the momentum still, the market breadth and everything is still fairly strong to support a higher high on all these indexes. But again, anything could happen just because it's the technical there doesn't indicate a sign of weakness. I mean, things could change very quickly and alter the entire picture, right? So, but at least right now, looking at the technical is still pointing to a higher level. And same thing with the Russell, although the Russell kind of a little bit lagging last week compared to previous week, but still all in all, I think it performed well. Again, it's been trending within this price channel, and also we got this nice long-term trend line as a support as well. Okay, so and we see that the Russell is kind of putting in a inside candle on this weekly engulfing candle here on the previous week, in which that it made this new all-time high. So if we zoom in on that, you can see that the all-time high was put in on 4/15 tax day in the U.S., and it was 1278.63. Then actually closed on the same day with that new high. Same day with a new closing high at 1275.35. So you can see last week it's kind of been trying to work itself back up after that Friday dip here. Okay, the Friday has really got a big dip on the Russell got a big hit on that, right? And then so right now it seems to be trying to get back up and tag this all-time high. So it's holding this trend line as a support, and if it break this trend line support, then essentially we're looking at this level here, this low, which is somewhere around 1255.75, and if we break that, then this pivot low will come into play. So it's at 1225.47. So again, we're basically just looking at these pivot low as potential support on the way down. And if we also take a look at the Fibonacci retracement here to see what is some of the potential upside. Remember, I've been saying that the 1300 will be a magnet for this this index, and it is still true because if we take a look at this, let me get rid of some of these lines here. Okay. So if we take a look at this Fibonacci swing on these, this particular swing point, see that it pulled back close to 38.2 and then start bouncing back away from this retracement zone. So once it get back up above this all-time high, then the 141 is projecting it to be at 1301.86. Right, so even at the 127, it will come close to that 1300. So I believe, once we get above this 1279, then we'll probably be looking for the Russell to at least come up and tag that 1300. It's the round number type of level. Okay, so essentially that's a look on the indexes. I think the market is still fairly strong. We might get a little bit pullback, and it could be a little bit volatile because this coming week we also have the FOMC meeting, and there's a couple other economic report that's gonna probably move the market, such as the GDP and those sort of things. But I do not believe that there will be any hawkish type of talk about raising the rate from the Fed. I think with the strong dollar, and also we're getting a lot of these companies report that it's getting impacted by the currency, the exchange rates. I don't believe right now is a time for the Fed to even try to take a test run of raising a quarter of a point or something like that to see how the market react. And I pretty much could tell them exactly what the market will react, maybe negatively, and also it could be some unintentional consequences that this just kind of firm up a lot of the corporation executive mind to put everything on hold until this currency things settle down, because with the continued strength on strong dollar, it create a level of uncertainty for the business environment to do any sort of a long-term planning. And without any kind of long-term planning, a lot of the capital expenditure and expansion plan will most likely put on hold, and that could tip the U.S. economy back to another recession. So that's my take, and hopefully you have a nice weekend and getting ready to resume trading next week. There is some big earning coming out next week, such as Apple, Twitter, and GoPro. So I'm going to do a separate video on covering those some of these stock that have earning coming up next week. So I'll be doing that video a little bit later on the day. So hopefully you enjoy this video and give you some idea of what I'm looking at and what my thinkings are on the market. So enjoy the rest of the weekend.